That's the beginning. Edited. Cut out that bit. Clever, eh? Right, quick thing on comments of yesterday. Cryptocurrencies is obviously what people wanted to grab onto. I imagine that most all of the people watching the videos to some extent are contrarian types watching my videos. And so we have a kind of a tendency to want something like cryptocurrencies to work. But also, although we might be contrarians, as in we just look at normal life and dissect it and don't just accept it for what it is and whatever. But when it comes down to it, the cryptocurrencies, again, with commenting with Axel helps me think. And where we got to was something, I think Axel's give crypto a bit more chance than I am. But where we got to is blockchain is something. And the way I left it was cryptocurrencies have left the world with blockchain, which might be useful. And blockchain's going to gallop off and be useful somewhere and leave its teenage mother cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, I suppose it was, that did the blockchain thing, just going to leave it behind. And the whole cryptocurrency will just get left behind and blockchain will be usefully used. I can see that people want cryptocurrencies to work. But they won't. Right, comments today in The Guardian. There's nothing much here exciting. It kind of makes me think of going to England and having to talk to people, but luckily I go to England and I don't really have to talk to anybody, which is fortunate. So this is the UK. The first comment on the article, whatever it was. The government's policy is a disgrace to a country that calls itself civilised. Ugh. Taking care of the weaker citizens and the deprived ones should be a political priority in this day and age. And it's in this day and age which kind of tips me off to the person writing it is one of these people that listens to expressions like that and just use it in slightly inappropriate places. It would have been a lot stronger sentence with taking care of the weaker citizens and deprived ones should be a political priority. But that's not how Tories think. Shame on them. For Americans and other people that don't know, Tories are the conservatives, the right-wing people. That's not how they think, taking care of weaker people. Shame on them. And the next comment below it is, they have no shame. And this is the sort of thing that you go, oh God. These are black and white people, and they're either black or white. I don't know which one you'd call them. But they just can't see that right-wing people are not evil. They're on a spectrum. And they don't want to punish weaker people. They don't want... It's just so... As soon as you can see, as soon as you get caught into that black and white thinking, you're just in trouble. It's rubbish. So I've marked this one next to read. £264 billion, which is apparently, because it's in brackets afterwards, 34% of total government spending was spent taking care of weaker citizens. That's the equivalent of every man, woman and child in the nation, the United Kingdom, handing over 3,700 £71 to weaker citizens. There is no case to answer for the ridiculous claims you make. And I think this commenter was speaking more on behalf of the people of the UK as opposed to the right-wing Tory Conservative government people. But it's an important thing. If that's every man, woman and child handing over 370, nearly 4,000 quid, and older people and children and students don't hand over much, that could be double that, 7,000, 7 to 10,000, being a third of the government budget. And this is the point. And we get to the point with the next comment below that repeats that £264 billion, 34% of government spending was spent taking care of weaker citizens. There is no case to answer for the ridiculous claims you make. That was a quote. The comment comes, given the number of people sleeping rough and level of general homelessness, the poor provision of mental health care, pensioner poverty, and the cuts hitting the disabled, etc., etc., either it's not enough money going into supporting the vulnerable, or the system is being mismanaged. And there you've got the problem that either government will have. That's a huge quantity of money going to cover all whatever it is. You could say it's mismanaged, but remanaging it so it works better is extremely difficult. So what this person is really saying is it's not enough money. So more than £7,000-10,000 per working person needs to go for this, which is a third of the government budget. You see, it's extremely difficult practically to sort these things out, but it's extremely easy to say that more money should be spent on sorting it out. The money has to come from somewhere. And then we get the classic, of course, replying to the comment about the 264 billion. So, in your terms, there's no poverty then, no disabled and elderly living in financial discomfort, no homelessness, no blah, blah, blah. Dang. I'm a bit confused, so I'll just talk shit. It's the girly way of doing it, Just say something that's such nonsense that you just go, eh? And you can't put a decent argument together against what's being said, because what's being said is so illogical. It's a problem. And down here, because a lot of that money, the third or the 265 billion or whatever it was, a lot of it goes for pensions. Now, a lot of those pensions will be army pensions for generals that will be huge, probably, I don't know. Or judges probably get very big pensions, I don't know. Most of it is basically chicken shit stuff, just giving out bits to most everybody. And as somebody says, the UK pension is lowest in Europe, or one of the lowest in Europe. And I ring this one to read out because it kind of talks to me, but it talks to everybody. Dear Sir, the state pension no longer exists, unfortunately. I have just received a letter from the DWP, that's the Department of Work and Pensions, notifying a small rise in the pension in what they refer to as my benefit. Now, in old documents, it would have been referred to as a pension, but I think it's because of the legal cases coming up from the women that have had their retire at 60 put up to retire at 65 or 66, they've been kicking up stink and getting together and getting lawyers. And the government lawyers have found back in the old days, way back, that pensions were always referred, in a legal point of view, they're referred to as benefits. So they've got that and brought it into the case against the women who don't want to have to work for another 5 or 6 years. And said, no, it's always been a benefit, and it's not a pension that you pay into and have a right to take out from. It's not a contract like that. It is a benefit that we, the government, have a right to pay out whenever and however we like. And if we want to change any type of aspect of it, it being a benefit, we can at any time. And I think for future reference, just in case they do want to do any of this changing around business, they are now, looks like, starting to actually refer to it in government documents being sent out to the people as a benefit and not as a pension. So that gives them, it's just easier when the court cases come in future to say, look, we refer to it as a benefit, it's a benefit, and everyone knows that the government can do whatever they like to benefits. But it looks like I'm finishing there, so what I'll say is it's very easy to say that government should spend more on something. It is very hard to decide where the money is going to come from. I probably won't get to do the video on. I had one yesterday that had just one little 3-word comment, and it got lots of thumbs up. It was "punish the rich." And you go, yo dude, punish the rich. Big thumbs up. And you think, well, things are getting desperate. There's going to be quite a lot of squeeze between a government that knows it's been squeezing the rich for as long as it can, and it would like to do it more, but it's come to what it thinks is the end of its practical squeezingness, and the public who want more of everything, who are going to come up more with this idea of punish the rich. And something's going to have to give, because government won't be able to explain to people stupid enough to say punish the rich how probably impractical this is. So I would see, this is another reason I was going to mention it, is because another reason why something like a left-wing government might get elected and try this punishing the rich thing, because they promised it to the people, and then they'll find out that they can't do it, find out again that they can't do it. But it would temporarily assuage the people's frustrations, because they're frustrated. They thought they were living in a really wonderful, advanced country, and things are sliding downwards, and they don't want it to slide downwards, because them and theirs are going to get caught in the slipping and sliding. So they want to hold on at least, or try and get up. So part of that is coming up with ways of doing it, but one of the only ways that they've come up with is punish the rich, and it is not going to get them anywhere at all. But it might get a government elected that might try it, and then it won't get there anywhere at all. But time will go by, and that's all we're really seeing at the moment, isn't it? There's the great grinding goes on, and time goes by. Could write a song about that. Right, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to edit that out. Right. Thank you. Goodbye.